All right. Well, welcome. My name is Tia McCarthy. I am the owner and founder of the Social Seller Door membership. This is what month are we in? Gosh, August.
August. I almost said July. I was like, wait a minute.
I almost said July and I was like, wait, I don't think that's right. Our August monthly deep dive that we do every single month, we take about an hour, cover some sort of topic that is trending or that is, obviously
Well, welcome.
right season. And everything that's good and everything that's going on for current needs within the social selling community. So I'm really excited. Today we have a guest speaker directly from Project Broadcast within our membership, as well as what we do just from an agency perspective with all of our clients, is that we really work on customer and potential and team communication. That's our big push. I'm all about connection first over converting them into just another number or an order or whatever. And so I'm really excited for you to be here because you're going to be talking all about just kind of social selling tips, communication, business, everything and anything that we might need. We will, I'm assuming, touch a little bit on Project Broadcast, of course.
Yeah, a little bit.
But we're really excited. If you're tuning in outside of the membership, watching the replay or whatever, welcome. We're excited that you're here too. And yeah, I'm ready to get started.
All right. So thanks for having me. First off, it's really cool to be able to have a chance to talk to coaches like you, because you literally said it. It was like the best thing ever. Connection. That connection is so much more important than the actual purchase, than the actual transaction. And that is why we align so well with you. The Project Broadcast vision is very based on relationships. And a lot of people think of automation in any way as robotic, when we're just no, just nudge people into conversations, connect with them. Because then, just like you said, people are so much more likely to have that conversation. You can figure out pain points and you build a customer for life versus just that initial purchase. So today we're going to kind of go through a communication plan and a customer journey. And the nice part is you guys are going to get access to the PDF on how to figure out your messaging, and then how to kind of look at your customer journey from prospect or lead all the way to somebody who actually joins the team and wants to be a part of the team. And this can be for Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Project Broadcast, whatever you kind of look at it from, which I guess basically people should be on all platforms if you think about it. But think of it from the perspective of, when I go to post, when I go to message, these are the things I need to think about. So we'll go through a couple questions. And then Anita, I think I saw you in here. If you have anything, you can put it in the chat or you can unmute. If you see anything on the Facebook group, Tia, just blurt out questions. And Tia, please, if the mode strikes you, this is a conversation. So please just interrupt and be like,
yes, of course.
Always. Okay, so get started. The biggest thing to always think about with your communication plan is who you're talking to. And I know it's super normal for us to spread this huge net to a very general audience, but when we do that, we lose a lot of authenticity. We lose who we actually want to talk to, because I'm not going to treat somebody who's a current customer the same way I treat a prospect. There's a very different level of communication there. So really know who you're talking to and how does the person you're talking to affect your business. The customer already bought from you, so you need to prove more education and value in their general direction. While a prospect, I need to prove myself. I need to show them I'm worth it. So, or that the product is worth it. So it's going to be a very different way that they affect my business. And it's actually, I think it's been proven it's more expensive to get a new prospect, to get a lead, than it is to keep a current customer. And even a current customer is 103% more likely to purchase from you again if you just provide them value and education, which you guys, you're all about. So I'm so into that. Okay.
I love that you pointed that out too, because one area that we've just recently jumped into is working with the, what we call it are our white lines or whatever. So basically people who have ordered in the past, but they've kind of lost that engagement and forgot the value or whatever. And so trying to re-engage them, not just sending them that, like what you mentioned, that blanketed message to reach a big mass group, but really honing in on that group as a lead.
Yep.
Because it's cheaper, and I'm all about like whatever your ROI is. Like I want to be the most efficient to get the most out of what I can do in the least amount possible. And I really feel like that's a big group of people that a lot of us in the network marketing industry kind of neglect. And so putting that into a system doesn't necessarily mean automation to where we're robotic and we take away the connection, but we can systemize the initial conversation, but we still have to work.
I love it. Speaking my language right now. I love it.
Yes, so, I am right there with that.
Yes, you are my person. Okay, so let's think about the next thing we need to kind of look at. Define the desired behavior or action from each of these target market groups. So maybe it is prospect, maybe it is current customer, maybe it is new team member, but it's always important when you do a Facebook post or a DM or a text message that you think about, what do I want from this one message? Because we do all have a tendency of being like, check this link. How are you doing today? Look over here. And people, their attention span is so short. And I'm definitely this person. I will click the link and that was it. Like, I don't even know if that's really what you wanted me to do. Maybe you wanted me to answer a question or opt in to receive more information or go to a specific Facebook group or go to your Instagram. But there was so much information in that one post, and maybe it was really long, that now I'm like, well, I went off on a tangent on my own. So, you know, it doesn't really matter. So you got to think about, how do you want to communicate to them? You know, where are you communicating at? Maybe it is that Facebook group. And how do you want them to communicate to others about you? So do you want them to also be in that Facebook group? Do you want them to be able to share something? Do you want them to be able to access you? Do you want their friends to be able to access you? And so when you think about that, it allows you to be like, okay, is this a Facebook message? Is this a text message? Is this a text message that links them to the Facebook? And I know that can kind of get in the weeds, but you have all these platforms at your disposal. And it really comes down to where you're funneling people. Where do I want to grab people's information? But
what's the end result that you
want? What's the end result? Like, what action do I want them to take based on this? So it could even just be, I'm trying to build sales. So on Instagram, I have a link in my bio that people can click, and it takes them to a cart of my stuff that I want to sell. And it's because I had stuff in my stories that I was giving out tips, my top 5 ways of staying mindful on school mornings so that I don't rip my hair out. Or the top 5 ways I can caffeinate. Top 5 ways to caffeinate at 2:00 during work.
Yes.
You know, like, just, you have to be really thoughtful, I feel like, which is sometimes scary for people. Not scary, maybe just nerve-wracking, because they're like, I just got to do it. I just got to do it. Well, you got to be thoughtful about it, because don't put all your energy out there and then you won't get anything out of it. So it's got to be like, what am I trying to get from this?
Yes. And that's another thing that I try to really instill in my clients as well as our members, is that we don't want, just because there's this target group that we're reaching out to, and there's all this stuff that we want to tell them, we don't have to tell them everything.
Oh God, the
one thing. What's the one thing that I want them to do? What's the end result? Because if I just word bomb it, do this and this, and oh, there's that, and then we can do that. And do you need help with my order? And then it's like, wait, what? I don't know what you're talking about, or what order, like what? So I really, really try to stress that, like, it's okay. What do you want them to do? You don't want to send a message or reach out to them to where there's the worst case scenario is them ignoring you. But then also, like, if you ask a certain question, is it going to be only a yes or a no, or a yes or an ignoring? And so what's the pattern, the journey that you want your client to go on or your customer to go on? And what does that look like? And what questions can we ask that doesn't stop the journey.
Oh, I love that.
No matter what, no matter if they're a yes or a no, what's the question at the end of my message that I can ask that will not stop the journey?
I love that. Oh my God. I have to quote you on that. I'm just
do it.
That's huge. If you guys are listening, that was stinking huge, because think about it. You want to be patient, but you want to continue the relationship. So ask a question that keeps them on the journey, that doesn't stop the conversation. And sometimes that could just be like a, hey, how are you doing? Are you excited? We're 16 days away from college football. Me. Or like, hey, I have this awesome resource, this piece of education for you about fall health recipes or fall looks, depending on your products. But yeah, that's clutch. Woo, blew my mind today already. Okay. So let's talk real briefly, like you mentioned it, the customer journey, and we're going to talk wave tops because everybody's going to have the PDF and they can look into it and kind of come up with ideas. But let's talk about a couple things, a couple behaviors or actions that like you and I personally would want to see from like a lead or a customer. So let's start with leads. For me, a desired action that I want from a prospect or a lead is to see some form of like attention. I mean, obviously we want them to convert.
Right.
Like, how do I garner that attention? For me, it's like for Project Broadcast, I would do something like text the word recipe to and then I give them my Project Broadcast number, or I'd use a link and they could just click it. Because I want that lead to receive value from me. So it could be a weekly recipe. What would you think in like a Facebook group or Instagram? What do you think? How would you garner that lead's attention?
I mean, you could put the link. Most people I feel like are on Facebook on their phone.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
As long as they click the link and it pulls up their text, then they can go right to hitting send and then into your Project Broadcast. I feel like, I feel like that's the easiest thing to do.
Stories. I love when people use stories on Instagram to promote something and then make it a highlight. So they're creating education and value about something. They're putting it on there, getting the algorithm boosted. But then when somebody comes to their page and they're just kind of scrolling through, those highlights at the top are who was it? Somebody was like, you should always have a start here on your Instagram. And I had to go back to the social media team. And I was like, we don't have a start here on a Project Broadcast website or Instagram. And I was like, oh. So little things like that, I feel like are so clutch.
Pinning those posts on your Instagram, I always say you should have one that's about you, one that's about your offer, and then one that's about like, adding value for how you add value. And so if you have those three pinned, plus a link in your bio, plus the highlights and everything, then I mean, that's it.
I need to take notes. Yeah. What about you? What about your product? And like, oh my God, it's so smart. I love that. You can tell.
That often can change based off of what season you're in, what products you're promoting, whatever, but the about obviously is probably going to change too over time.
But I love that. Man, that's so freaking good. Okay, so current customers. Let's look at new customers, and then we'll kind of dive back into current customers. When I think of a new customer, they just started. They're super excited. They're super motivated. And when I think of something I want from them, I want obviously them to reorder, but I want them to be excited and to share that excitement. So I want them like that initial, like super, super excited. I want you to share it. And whether that's through like referrals or anything like that, I kind of think of it as, even in my messaging, I'll sometimes say things like, who do you think of when you use this product? Or like, I reached out to my sister the other day because she complained of this. And I was like, oh, you should try that. But I want it to be super genuine. And for me, there are going to be some conversations that should be done almost in a private way, like with text message, because you can identify those pain points. But there are going to be times on Facebook or Instagram that you're going to want people to be able to identify with that pain point. And so it could be even your pain point of like what I'm struggling with and why I did this, because everybody's going to have that target audience, that niche. And that's kind of who who people are going to want to go through or go for. So why I did this, because right, I did that too earlier. Good. You and I.
Yeah, you can't comment without it like changing the way that it sounds.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome. This is congratulations on hanging out with us. So for me, the next step in the journey is we want new customer to become a team member. Because at that point, they are just like, this is my jam. I am super passionate.
Retention is higher.
Yeah, like let's take it up to the next level. So I guess the real question is, what action or behavior do I want from that current customer to become a team member? And maybe it's a weekly tip with like value, or how to build that rapport with a customer or with a friend, even like a small business communication series that's like, hey, how do you talk about your products? Because they could be on that edge of like, what do I want to do? Do I want to sell this because I believe in it so much? Because those are the people that are clutch. Like
right.
And that I would almost rather that person, for me personally, than anybody else, because I look at it as they're not really in it for the hustle. They're not really in it for money or time. They're in it because they believe in this product and what it's done for them. And I feel like that's really the game changer for people. I know there's always going to be other ideas out there, but for me, like that really passionate customer turning into a team member is like the best that you can.
Yeah, and I think engage them in not only engaging them, but also acknowledging that they are engaged too, I think is beneficial, because like not necessarily recognition, but I mean, it's really the only industry where us as grown people can get recognized. Like I wash the dishes every day, but I don't think I really get a whole lot of recognition for that. And, when I was a teacher, I mean, I taught my students, whether they were broken or not broken, I still had to teach them. I didn't really get a whole lot of recognition. Same thing with corporate. You're working in jobs, like what really you might get a mug at the end of the year or something with the business name on it.
Yeah.
No recognition. And I don't think that, like, a lot of people don't know that they like that.
Yeah.
So I think that's adding value as well, is being able to recognize and using project broadcast. And it could be a canned voice message that you send just to go and acknowledge that they reordered or whatever. Something so simple that is still adding value, which I think is really important. And then I like what you said about, okay, the new customer comes in, and then we need to get them to the next step, which would be then obviously sharing. And that I think goes along with, obviously taking them on that journey of what you want the end result to be. But one thing that we teach, just from my educational background, is with teaching any skill or process that needs to be learned, we remember, like, as babies, it's the whole schema, like, oh, you have animals with 2 legs, animals with 4 legs. And then you learn, okay, not all animals with 4 legs are cows. There's some that are horses, some that are this. And then so you kind of like build on what you know.
So cool.
So with teaching, that's how I ran my classroom. It wasn't a whole lot of whole group, because you can't teach the masses. You have to individualize and kind of teach what they're using, but abusing. How I always say. So what are your customers? What are your team members doing with whatever benefits that come from whatever your incentive plan is, or anything, or even just what are they use if you want more engagement in your Facebook group? Okay, well, what are they currently using in the Facebook group but abusing? And then that's the next step of where you go from there, and how you tweak your systems to kind of guide them to that next step. Because I, as a leader myself, I used to see, top people doing, we're going to give away a Kate Spade handbag when we have 30 new team members this month. And like, I mean, we were bringing in 5 as a new, organization. And so I'm like, I could, if I didn't know any better, take that, because that sounds like a great idea, and throw it to my people. but my people aren't doing that yet. So I can't, I'm not setting them up for success.
So, but that's so smart. Like, a lot of people don't think strategically like that. So I think it's a huge testament to your whole program and your membership that you're really breaking it down for people at the level they're at. Because I'm like, oh, I would love to do. I'm going to get somebody to Kate Spade bag too if they get 30 people. And then my silly butt is like, I got 3.
Right. And then you're like hating life because you feel like a failure.
I feel like that's a big testament to, like, if you're doing some form of team onboarding, and whether it's email or it's a Facebook group or if it's a project broadcast message, you have to understand your runners, walkers, and joggers. And I feel like that onboarding campaign should be specific to them, because I'm not going to like go after that person that's like, I kind of just doing this for fun. Like, I'm really passionate about this one product. And I want to get the benefits of being, you know, a consultant or an ambassador from it. And I'm not going to bombard them with a daily message or put them in a Facebook group of my 90-day hustlers if that's not their thing. Because like you said, you can't be like, get me 30 people, I'll get you this bag. And they're going to be like, what? I'm going outside to play. Like, I'm going to go to the mall or the mall. Does everybody know the mall here? I'm almost 40. So we went to the mall when I was younger.
I have a mall.
Okay. Do we still have malls? Don't do this to me. Okay. Not good. Not good today. Ugh. So I love that idea. And I feel like you look at it such a strategic overview from that like huge growth, like huge view. You're not just like, this applies to everybody. You break it down. So I think that's so huge. All right. And then, so that was like a new team member. We want them to be onboarded. We want them to feel comfortable where they're at, like you said, and figure it out from there and be supported by a mentor or by themselves. I know there's always this idea that your business is your business, but attitude reflects leadership. So if I want people to feel supported and I want people to feel mentored because I want them to do the same thing, then I need to do that. And so it kind of depends on your vibe and what you want to do. But I think that's huge. So I guess the last question then is, how do we keep current team members consistent and have them start recruiting as well? And I feel like that's kind of not the end of the journey, but it's just that like next step in the journey. I love the idea of a weekly business tip. I love the idea of a monthly call where everybody gets together and brainstorms, a mentorship campaign, a Facebook group where it's like, hey, we've got Black Friday coming up. And a lot of people are like, is that really coming up? I almost said June. We're in August. Oh God. I swear you guys, I'm always like in the month ahead. I'm not like 2 months behind, but for some reason I felt like saying June there. So yeah, to me, Black Friday is coming up. So I have to build all those relationships, value and education now.
Yes.
So that way when Black Friday comes around, I'm like, ooh, Black Friday, spend all your money. They're like, I have 50 million ideas of how I want to spend my money on all these products, because all you've been doing is feeding me education and value. And I trust you to like take care of me because that's what you've done. So yeah, of course I'm going to buy things because I trust this brand. I trust this person. So I feel like that's a huge part for current team members, is helping them duplicate that value and education at their level and have them do the same for people underneath them. Can you think of anything else that you'd want like a current team member to do? I feel like you're spitting so much truth right now that I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'm like waiting for your next thing. So
oh gosh, I feel like well, it depends, I think, on the dynamic of and the structure of the company, but I feel like the majority of us have customers and then we have team members that are actually business builders. So, but at the same time, a lot of the times the business builders are not consistent. So we also still have to remember they're really glorified customers.
Yeah, you're right.
Until they reach that certain point. And my thing is, like, we want duplication, but I feel like there's a time and a place for duplication.
Yeah.
I feel like at some point, like, I feel like there's the implementation. And then there's the building on that, because that's what I do. So then we build on the implementation and maybe tweak it, and then teach them that one thing, because that's also super important. Same thing with education. When I'm teaching little kindergartners who can scribble scrabble and need them by the end of the year to write 5 sentences with all of the components of the English language and sentence structure and all of that go along with it, that's a little bit tricky. But we can't jump from point A to Z. We have to go A, B, C, like, down the line. So it's really hard. And you have to teach your people what is one thing, that next thing, what are they using but abusing, and only do that one thing. So as a new team member coming in, I don't want to hand them a 90-day 87 message follow-up system that I need them to on day 1, day 7, day 13, day 12, and if you miss one, you're done. Like, that's it. And so I can't get them to do that. What do I want them to do as a new person? I want them to love the product, use the product, share the product.
Perfect.
That's all I want them to do. We have to make it simple. I feel like a lot of times we know what they all need, but they don't know. And so we try to give it to them all. It's hard. Yeah, it's hard to hold back, because we see the potential in what we offer. We know it works. We have the value. We have every understanding of what this could potentially be for them. And we want it so badly for them that we have a hard time with holding back a little bit of our excitement.
The monkey meme that's like that. That's me.
Yes, exactly.
I always have that like desire to just push so much information. That's why I think it's important that I do stuff like this where the other person talks, because I'm just like, I just dive into the weeds like all the time. So I love that.
There's different stepping stones. There's different duplication processes depending on where they're at. And then all I want for that new person is to do that. Then the next level is, okay, now you've got this. Now, okay, what are they using but abusing? Okay, so you're recruiting, but now you need to also do, encourage them, whatever. And then keep building on that. And it's hard. It's a lot to juggle. I get it, but that's the beauty of having systems and programs and things that we can put systems into that make it a little bit easier. But
I love that, because so you use my hype word systems, because to me, like, I don't care if you just started or if you're like a top level leader, there is one thing that I feel like can go across the board, and that is having some form of system in place where you are consistent. And if it's that customer onboarding, for the love of God, don't do an 87 message 90-day. That was like perfect for me, because I was like, wait, are my onboardings like that? No. But like that, what we always talk about, the 2-2-2, even if it's just, hey, it's Johanna, and I just wanted to check in and make sure you have my number. I plan to send you some tips weekly. Text me back that you got this. Then 2 weeks later, hey, what haven't you opened yet? It's Johanna again. Hope everything's going well. 2 months later, hey, it's me again, something. Or join my birthday club. I want to celebrate your birthday with you. Just text back the word birthday. And you can do this on Flowdesk. You can do this on Facebook. It's easier when you automate, because at scale, as you build, you'll have that system in place and you're just dropping people in. But it's just
what you do for one, can you
do for two? And then you don't have to worry about verbally vomiting all over people like I do when I get super excited. You just drop them in. Or even in your Facebook group, people will post the welcome message and tag people. Hey, that works, whatever you want to do. But have a consistent thing that you do so that you have that system. And then anybody that comes in after you can duplicate that same system easily. So, man, I got on my soapbox when you said system. I love it.
Oh, yeah. Well, and my thing too is, like, I know for me, I had the bare minimum systems in place. I had systems for my own business, like personal growth, but to put systems in, or to teach systems to other people, like, or even to like a VA, like having like an assistant help me. It was like, oh my goodness, I'm already scaled so big that I don't have time to slow down and teach all of these other things to you to help me, or to you. So I always say too, jump on board before you need, or you think you need it, like using something like Project Broadcast or whatever before you get to the point of overwhelm, because it's a lot. We can only handle one thing. So it's a lot harder to figure out how you're going to manage 80 million team members, as well as also figure out how you're going to manage learning the technology of it. And then we get to the point where it's like, I don't even want to know about the technology, even though it's simple. You just got to sit down and have some time.
Some time.
Yeah. Whereas if you start when you have 3 team members, that's a little bit, I can manage the 3 while I'm learning the technology. And then when I have the 300, I already know the technology. So now I'm flipping where I'm managing my thoughts. And now I'm managing 300, whereas Project Broadcast or whatever tech I'm using is already in place.
I love
that. I think too, as leaders, we tend to try to hold back on teaching our teams how to use systems or tools for systems, because we think, oh, I don't want them to have to pay for all these extra whatever. But reality is, if it's someone who is planning on growing, then you need to put that in place first.
It's like, for me, it's especially if you're big on social media platforms like TikTok or Instagram, because there are so many people out there that understand the music and hashtags now, where you can do like a 7-second clip with a specific song and hashtag and you go viral.
Right.
See it all the time. And so then you're like, I have 300 orders. And that's great, but like,
and you freak out because you have no idea
I don't have a system to put them in. I can't follow up with them. Great, I got a ton of money from that. But what could you have had if you had a system in place that you could, whether it's an email or Facebook group, where you're sending a message to them, following up with them, building that relationship? I mean, it's so big that to me, it's just really, really important to have that system. I don't care if it's on our platform, email, Facebook, whatever it is, but it does need to happen, in my opinion.
I agree.
Well, are there any questions that anybody has, Anita or Vicky or Nicole, that you guys have about just Business Communication Mastermind or anything like that? This was so stinking fun.
Yay.
I got more out of this than you did, though. I feel like I need to rewatch it, and then I'm gonna have like a bunch of quotes that I'm just
I know, right? I need to write down some. I mean, I've got my like little whiteboard here of notes, but
at least you have a whiteboard. I'm over here. I do not learn audibly, you guys. I have to be kinetic. So if you're listening on YouTube right now or watching on YouTube right now, make sure you check out underneath the video, you're gonna check out a membership to Social Seller Door. If you were at least inspired like I was with some of the things she said, and you guys, I've been doing this for like 3 or 4 years. So to have somebody actually make my brain turn over is kind of a big deal to me. I'm not saying I'm jaded, a little bitter, but maybe. So, but to have her say certain things and me to be like, oh, is really, really good for me. So check out your Social Seller membership. There's going to be a link over there that's specific to Plexus. But you can check out her Facebook group for any and other ideas and tips. And then if the idea of Project Broadcast is clutch for you, then check it out. If you use her link, you get 50% off your first month, which can be as low as like, I think $9 a month, which is nice. Because if you're going to do it now, build the relationship, because Black Friday is coming. So don't be that guy that a week before Black Friday, you're like, oh, I'm going to learn all this stuff. No, please don't do that. And Anita, implement everything. All right,
I'm gonna retailer now, because I know I already see Halloween stuff out. So, and it's just been over with back to school. So
don't tell anybody.
We're in August, September, October, so 2 months away. So if you're thinking about Black Friday, you need to at least be 2 months before that. But as a retailer, they already have that stuff made to be able to throw it out there. So really, they've been planning this for months prior to.
I think somebody called it summer like Halloween.
Oh, yes.
I literally, don't judge me, I literally bought a bunch of Halloween decor yesterday at Target because it was like $1, $3, you guys.
Yeah, I did too. Because it'll be gone in a week, and then I'm going to be upset that I waited.
So I just want to say thank you. I want to do this again. You dropped a bunch of truth bombs on me today, and I feel like I need to have some more chats with you. So please let me come back and talk to you again sometime.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we'll chat again. So if you're seeing the recording, everybody, let me know what you think in the comments.